There, it's Christina from the Rust Covered Cottage by Christina. I'm back with another Paint Couture creative team project. I'm using the Hello Pumpkin IOD mold. I'm using the smallest pumpkin in the set, and I am working with Premier Air Dry Clay. This is my favorite clay, which you can find this on Amazon and at Michael's. I dust my mold with the cornstarch, I press the clay in and I smooth it out just with my fingers. I did go over this with the brayer real quick. And then I just flex the mold and I let gravity do the work. This air dry clay is so pliable, it's so easy to work with. It is one of my favorites. Next, I have this wooden tag. I cut this on my laser, and they are available different sizes and sets on my website. I'm staining it with watered down Dyke Brown Glaze. Once that's dry, I'm going to take a piece of coffee stained cheesecloth, and I'm using the Decoupage Medium in matte. I really want this tag to have a lot of texture. I attach the pumpkin with Aleene's tacky glue. Once I get that placed, I'm going to go ahead and I am going to paint the entire surface with Buttercream Chalk Paint. This is my base color. And I just put that on. I go in both directions. I want to make sure that it gets down into that cheesecloth texture. Then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to give that a good dry once I'm done painting it. And then I'm going to bring out my Espresso Paint Couture paint. All of these paints can be found on my website, therustcoveredcottage.com. I have a pretty decent supply of Paint Couture. I am a new retailer. I have bundles that I have created for my kits and for my brand. So if you want to give that a look, I'd appreciate it. It's therustcoveredcottage.com. And here's the espresso. I am going to take a small artist brush and I am going to water that down. See, I forgot to right here, but then I get my mister and I water that down and I'm just going in between the pumpkin segments and I do the stem. Be sure you're following Paint Couture's YouTube channel. Hit that subscribe button and notification bell so that you will always know when a new video has been uploaded. For color, I'm going to use Firelight on the pumpkin, and I am watering that down also. I'm not going for a heavy coverage. That's why I'm watering the paint down. I'm going to bring out my vintage moss and I'm going to do the leaves with that color. My style is farmhouse, primitive, vintage. I love everything grungy and old and rusty. So I was really trying to capture that in this project, and I'm pretty pleased with how it turned out. So there we are with the vintage moss. I'm doing the leaves. And then I'm going to bring in my Madagascar mocha, and I'm going to add that to the stem and to the leaves, like the veins of the leaves. Just very lightly with a small artist brush. And then I go around the pumpkin to kind of shadow it and give it some depth so it doesn't look like it's just setting right on top. I made a boo-boo right there with my mold. I put my artist spatula into it, so I just kind of fixed it. You know, when we get produce, it's got bangs and chips and dents on it, so I just embraced it. We're going to get this finished up. And now to help bring out the cheesecloth texture, I'm using a sponge, and this is just an automotive sponge that I got from Dollar Tree a long time ago. I cut it up in little sections, and I made sure that the sponge was wet, and I'm dipping it into espresso, which is watered down, and I'm just lightly going over the surface, trying to touch the texture on the cheesecloth. I do go heavier on the edges because I want that vintage, old, antique grungy look. You know, all the good stuff, all the stuff that I love. And then I'm going to do the same thing with the cozy beige. That is a beautiful color beige, and I want to add another layer of depth to this surface. So I'll take the same sponge, just use a different side of it, and I will water down some cozy beige, and I will do the same thing. There's no rhyme or reason. I'm just putting it wherever I think it needs it. Using a little bit more water for the blending. Once that's dry, I do a heavier dry brush with buttercream to add more rustic layered tones. And then once I put the paint away, I do take what's on my chippy brush there and I brush over the pumpkin a little bit just to give it a little bit of highlight. And now for the bow, I'm going to grab my Bodabra, some vintage lace, some velvet ribbon, and some fabric. I put my jute down in because that's what we're going to tie the bow with. I'm just going to layer the fabric and the ribbon and the lace into the Bodabra. I want to have tails on it, so I am leaving, a small tail on them. These little ribbon and twine spools that you see my fabric is on, I do sell those on my Shopify store too, at therustcoveredcottage.com. And I did a video where I put, my vintage lace and my favorite ribbon and stuff on them. And I store them in a vintage sewing machine drawer. So we're just going to keep layering that, and that was just an extra piece that I cut off, so I just threw it in there. It was hard for me to do this bow so minimally. I kind of like big, bodacious bows. I had to refrain. That's the second size of the spools that I sell. I sell two sizes. And this velvet ribbon I got from Amazon. I think it is absolutely beautiful. I love that shade of green. I decided not to put that other piece of fabric in, and I'm taking some coffee grunged lace, and that's going to be the last layer that I put in. Right there, that is sisal, and I get that from Amazon, and that's just going to give it a little bit naturalness to the bow. It gets kind of crazy, so I'm just snipping away all the crazy pieces. And then we're going to tie it off, and we're going to set that to the side. Okay, now I'm going to seal everything in with my favorite dead flat top coat. I make sure that I get down into all the texture. And then I do decide that I wanted to give the pumpkin a little bit of sheen, just a soft sheen. So I went over that with the satin finish. And again, all of these products are available on my website. And this is the light brown sugar glaze. I am going over the entire thing. I'm working it in. This is going to help with that vintage feel. And then I'm just taking a lightly dampened paper towel and I'm just kind of blotting that off. Oh, I love the look of this. I just think it's so pretty. We're going to give that all of a good dry. And I have this rusty washer. I rust my own metals like bells and safety pins and washers. And I'm just going to attach it to where the hole is with some E6000. Just like that. And then we're gonna hot glue my bow on. I'm just messing with it right here, fluffing it all out and moving the fabric where I want it. I hope this inspires you to try some of the Paint Couture's products. All the links for what I used will be in the description. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and hit that subscribe bell so that you'll know when the next Creative Team video is uploaded. Thanks for watching.